Hey everybody, it's Friday night. I'm not gonna lie, we ordered pizza, but I did tell you I was gonna make a Tuscan chicken, so I want to show you guys the Tuscan chicken recipe that I'm doing at most of my shows this September. What I like about it is very versatile. You can start with the main ingredients that I'm going to show you guys and take it in very different ways. So I've cut the chicken using the closing cut. So if you guys buy really large breasts, like they come off the Dolly Parton Double D Ranch, think about getting yourself the closing cut, which is in the sink, because you can cut your chicken breast in half and get two for the price of one. And plus they'll cook a little bit faster. So we're just going to season these guys up. And my only rule about seasoning is no naked spots. But we are running out of seasoning, so we may have some naked spots, but that's okay. We're going to put a lot of flavor in other places. So, the rule of thumb is equal parts of pasta to broth. So we're going to do 2 cups of pasta. And you want your pasta in the broth, so we're going to put this on the bottom. 2 cups of our chicken broth. And we're just going to put that in there like that. To give it a little bit more flavor, we're going to throw some pesto in here. Got some basil pesto and just kind of mix it around. We're also going to press some fresh garlic in there. Rule of thumb is when you do videos to make sure you have all of your ingredients handy and ready, which I don't. So let's just imagine that I'm pressing some fresh garlic in here. Alright, so let's put our chicken in here. And we're just going to set this on top of the pasta. So when I say you can do this multiple ways, you can make this a chicken parmesan pasta where you get the chicken done, you pull it out, put your spaghetti sauce in here, heat that up, take some panko breadcrumbs, put a little bit of butter on that, and put that in the microwave to toast that all up. Boom, chicken parmesan. But we're going to do some Tuscan chicken. So we're going to put our cover on this guy. You hear him say hello. And he does it again. I call my guy George because it's like I'm going to hug him and squeeze him and call him George and keep him for my very own. I did not think I needed a pressure cooker. I was the last person to think I needed an electric pressure cooker. My friends are like, oh, we make yogurt in ours. And I'm going, who's got time? Yoplait does a pretty good job. But then Pampered Chef says, hey, we're going to give you guys an electric pressure cooker. I was like, hey, let's play with it. So we're going to set this to the custom mode right here. We're going to put the time down to, hit the time button. We're going to go down to 6 minutes. The chicken was a little bit on the frozen side, so I want to make sure it gets done. If the chicken was fresh, this would be 3 minutes. 3 minutes. It does take about 10 minutes to pressurize. So it's about 16 minutes. I'm going to prep some other stuff while we're waiting for this because I don't want you guys to watch me the whole 16 minutes. I mean, I could do some fun stuff like dancing in the kitchen. I'll be drinking wine, but really after about 10 minutes, I'm going to lose you guys. So we're going to prep a couple of the ingredients and talk about some other tools. So these are our kitchen tear-offs. You put them on your cutting board, and then when you're done with it, you just tear it off, grab the next one. If you watch NASCAR, you notice they have that with their windshields. We have that for our cutting boards. Yeah, you shouldn't drink too much wine and then do Facebook things. So we're just going to put some mushrooms in here like this. Granted, I would be doing a lot more mushrooms. This is just for your viewing pleasure. So in the recipe, I do about 8 ounces. We don't want to spill any of our wine. And now we're just going to put those in the bowl just like that. So the cool thing about our pressure cooker is it has a little red indicator that when it comes to pressure, that's going to pop up. The steam release is right here. The button to release it is here, and the steam is there. So that I don't have to worry that I'm going to get burnt, because my fingers should be totally away from that when we release the steam. You can sear in this or saute in it, which means you can cook some of your chicken to get some of that fond on the bottom, and you do some cooking that way. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I will answer them as best I can. Some of the things we have made in our George is ribs in less than an hour. 2 racks of baby back ribs, cooked to perfection. We're talking fall off the bone perfection. The tastiest I have ever had them in less than an hour. I mean, you can't do that with any other appliance up there. And what else have we done? Hamburger helper. I made my kids cheeseburger hamburger helper. It was 6:15, and the kids are like, what are we having for supper? I'm like, oh crap, you guys need to eat, don't you? So I was like, all right, I've got a ton of elbow macaroni, I've got some kind of cheese sauce, and I have some hamburger in the refrigerator. So I Google a recipe, pull it up, boom. 10 minutes later, the kids had cheeseburger macaroni, and it was healthy for them. So, all right, we did our mushrooms. We're going to do some cheese here. If you guys are buying your cheese pre-shredded, do me a favor. Look on the back of that package. If you see the word cellulose, that is the equivalent to wood pulp. So when they were talking about the cheese, Kraft Parmesan cheese having wood pulp in it, the pre-grated stuff that's already dried, that is your cellulose. That is the stuff you are eating in your grated cheese. So do yourself a favor and look for the stuff that has a natural ingredient, because it's an anti-caking item, which if you've ever melted that pre-shredded cheese and it's all kind of gritty, you know why. That's that anti-caking agent. So we're just going to put our Parmesan cheese down here. We're going to throw, after this cooks, we're going to throw some Parmesan cheese in and some cream cheese and a little bit of heavy cream. It's going to give it that creaminess texture that we like with our Tuscan chicken. If you have sun-dried tomatoes, that will taste amazing in here. I like to order mine from Amazon, and I recently ran out. So Amazon will be here for 2 more days, so no sun-dried tomatoes in ours. So if you've noticed, I put this in the food holder. When you guys are using items with a food holder, use the food holder. These are your 10 most important items in your kitchen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. If you cut one of these off because you're not using a food holder, now that meal just went to about $200 to $300 because you're going to the emergency room. So use the food holder. You don't have to be cool thinking, I don't need it. Just use it, because this way you're not getting a knuckle in there, a fingernail. Everything is going to be nice and edible. And if you notice, it takes no time at all. And the cool part is you get big chunks for eating, because if you have a husband like mine, he's going to come through and, steal a handful. But if you have a chunk out there, he's going to take the chunk. So we are just going to finish this up like that. So we're going to come to pressure, and as soon as it's done, I'm going to pop on when there's a couple minutes for it to go, and I'm going to finish this up for you guys. So I will see you in a little bit. Alright, so we're back. I want to show you guys, we're down to 1 minute, and I want to show you what happens when you go from cooking time to warming time. So we're just going to kind of watch this and listen for a little beep beep. So we have probably about 40 seconds left, which is going to seem like an hour. So we're going to do some fun, entertaining stuff. I did get the garlic out, so we can put some garlic in there. I am drinking more wine, so again, bottoms up. You don't chug wine, that's not ladylike. You sip it. You breathe it. Again, 40 seconds feels like 2 hours when you're watching it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there is, the red indicator is up. It does say locked. And then it beeps. So you see the beep. Now it's went to 0. So now you're going to watch it go into the warming mode. So you're going to see up here it says warming. We're going to watch it just till it goes to 1 minute again. We're going to let this, it's called a natural pressure release, for about 5 more minutes. It just gives it a little bit more cooking time, but it doesn't need to be under pressure. So when we get ready to release that, I will come back and show you guys the next step. Alright, so we've let this kind of do its thing for 7 minutes, so we're going to hit the cancel button. Now, this is where we're going to release the steam. There's a couple of things that you can do. Is some people put a paper towel over it so that it doesn't like shoot all over. So we'll do that. And then you just press it down and let it go. And then the red indicator is going to go down. You're going to hear it release. And again, nothing happens. Nothing exploded. We're all safe and fine. And supper is ready in about 15 minutes. We're going to do a couple of things to tweak it a little bit, but it's going to be ready to eat. And oh, I wish you guys had smell-o-vision so you could smell this. I have a little bit of ADD, so I'm always playing with that. And then the red indicator goes down. Then you are ready to open. Open sesame. Again, I wish you guys could smell this. So we're going to pull our chicken out because we're going to chop that up. And then while I chop the chicken up, I'm going to throw the mushrooms in there to cook in the broth that is still in there, because there's just a little bit. I'm going to put that in there and the cream cheese and just kind of let it kind of get all nice and warm while I chop up the chicken. Just going to put the cover back on to keep all of that nice and warm in there. I know, it's like this only does this when I'm on video. Alright, so we got that on there like that. So we're going to chop up the chicken. This next item is probably my #1 seller. It is a must-have in your kitchen. They call it the salad choppers. We call it the chicken and more chopper. So you just take this like this and you chop your chicken up. Look how easy that chops up. And look at that. How quick was that? Alright, so I'm just going to ask my camera person to come over to the Instant Pot. Not the Instant Pot, the Pampered Chef electric pressure cooker quick cooker pot. We'll have to remember to edit that part out later. You need the phone with the camera. I just don't need you. Sear, because that just heats up the bottom. It doesn't make any kind of pressure. And then you hit the triangle start button. And we're just going to kind of cook this a little bit so that the mushrooms cook and that the cream cheese cooks. And we're just going to stir, 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 stir. And you can see the cream cheese is kind of breaking down in there. We're going to add, I do have a recipe for this, but cooking is not a science. Baking is a science. Cooking, you just kind of go with it. But if you would like the recipe when you get your quick cooker, I will gladly get it for you. So we just mix, 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 mix. And I so wish you guys could smell this. It is amazing. And then we're going to add our Parmesan cheese. And if you get the little handy microwave grips, they're going to save on your fingers when you're doing this. Because if you notice, I'm holding this as I'm stirring. So we get that in there like that. We got some warm chicken going in. And then if you want to serve this in a nice pretty bowl, go right ahead. Actually, I'm just going to throw it right back in the chicken bowl because I know my kids really don't want me to do more dishes than I absolutely positively have to. But we do have our stoneware entertaining bowl that it looks amazing in. Alright, so nice and warm here. Again, the sun-dried tomatoes will give it that little pop of red. We're just going to finish it off with a little bit of green with some fresh basil. So let's pull this out like that. Dump this in here like this. And again, you can kind of do whatever you want in here. You can do spinach, you can do asparagus. You can saute a little bit of onion in here. It is just a good starter recipe. Put that over there like that. We'll slide this back here like this. So, and if you had some extra Parmesan, go ahead and throw that on. Now we've got our fresh basil. And you just put some fresh basil on like that. When it's not bringing any out, you just shake it so the ball gets on top of there. And voila, you have supper. Do a little bit of salad, some garlic knots, you are good to go. So this is my Tuscan chicken in about 16 minutes, start to finish, in your quick cooker. If you're thinking you need a quick cooker, think about hosting a show, because I will tell you that is how most of my people are getting them. Go ahead and order it full price. It is totally worth every dollar. And if you have crazy schedules, oh my God, the kids have practice till 5 o'clock, or it's 4 o'clock, you're sitting at your desk going, crap, I don't know what we're having for supper and I didn't pull anything out. This guy is your answer. You can go from frozen to meals in under an hour. You can take that pot roast that is in your freezer right now, put it in there, and in about an hour's time, it's going to be cooked and ready for your family. Baby back ribs, fall off the bone, tender ribs in less than an hour. This is, they call it the quick cooker. I call it the crap I forgot I need to feed my family cooker. So if you have a crazy busy schedule, this is a must in your kitchen. You guys have a great night, and if you have any questions, please post them and I will answer them as best as I can. Thanks.